Today's tutorial is a pile of pistachio nuts in Caran d'Ache colored pencil. If you're new to my channel, my name is Michelle Moreus and I make art tutorials that are fun, easy, and accessible for everyone. If you're returning, then welcome back. If you like what you see, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and leave me a comment below I subscribed, and I'll be sure to get back to each and every one of you. The first thing about a good drawing is you need to have a plan. You need to figure out what medium you're going to use, what paper, and you need to have a good detailed sketch, quality reference images, preferably ones that have a good high contrast. This will give you a better, more hyper-realistic end product when you have a really good reference image to work from. In this case, I am using a colored pencil Strathmore paper. I'm using Caran d'Ache luminance pencils, and I am going to sharpen my pencils before I even start the drawing. I have my colors swatched out with the numbers next to them on a separate piece of paper. This makes it easier to get started, and you don't have to continually keep going into your set to find new colors. You'll have them all swatched out ahead of time with the numbers next to them, and that way when you're looking for a specific color, you just refer to your color chart and you can pick up that exact pencil. Sharp pencils make all the difference. They help with pressure control. They give you smoother transitions and sharper details. You don't want to ruin the tooth of the paper by pressing too hard on the pencils because you won't be able to put any more details on top. Now, the depth of realism comes when you layer a lot of layers of colored pencil on top of one another. It just creates a richer, deeper, more hyper-realistic effect. You always want to keep in mind your light source because that will help you decide where your shadows and your light and darkest areas are. And you kind of want to map those out ahead of time so that helps you as you go along your journey in the drawing. One of the most important foundations for hyper-realistic drawing is value. Value is simply how light or dark a subject is, so the shadowy areas and the highlights and all of the range of tones in between. Understanding value is the most important part of pretty much any hyper-realistic drawing or painting, no matter what the subject matter is. If your drawing's looking flat or undefined, it's probably because you haven't used a full range of values. You want to use many midtones, you want to use definitely your deeper, darker, shadowy tones, and you want to have your lightest values and highlights as well. So I'm maintaining a light pressure control on my pencils through the whole entire drawing. I'm alternating between colors, gradually creating a transition, and there isn't a lot of color variation in this drawing itself because the pistachio nuts are pretty much all the same color. It's just really mapping in where those shadows are, where the nut underneath is. It's going to have a shadow. It's going to be a little bit darker, and I'm just trying to really control the pressure on the pencils. You're not going to burnish this until the very end stages because, as I said earlier, you will ruin the tooth of the paper and won't be able to put any more colored pencil down on top, especially with these wax-based colored pencils. Once you've hit your limit of layers, if you push too hard, the paper just won't accept anything else on top of it. The drawing itself looks fairly easy because of its limitation in color, but that's actually what makes it much more difficult to do this piece because you really have to pay attention to your values and you really have to represent them correctly in order for this drawing to work. You don't have the use of a ton of other colors to separate things from one another. So it's really just the values that are going to make or break this whole drawing. So just really pay attention to your shadows, your highlights, and again, where that light source is coming from. And this will help you along with your success in the finished drawing. So I decided to use these Caran d'Ache luminance pencils on this drawing because I haven't really worked with them that much. Normally my favorites are the polychromos. I love the way the oil-based pencils just blend together seamlessly. My second favorite would be the Prismacolor Premiers, which are wax-based pencils. The polychromos does not get the wax bloom that the wax-based pencils get. You'll notice after your drawing sits for a little bit, the wax kind of rises to the top and you get a little bit of a cloudy effect or a wax bloom on these pencils. So I did have a harder time blending with the Caran d'Ache luminance pencils. The Prismacolors are much softer and creamier. The Caran d'Ache are a little bit harder lead in there. So I did kind of struggle with that a little bit. I could see where maybe in certain projects they would lend themselves a lot better than this particular project. I wish I had used the polychromos just for a better blend. And since I was only using such few colors, I feel that that would have given me maybe a little bit easier time, an easier go at this particular drawing. If you'd like to see a tutorial on comparing the different brands of pencils, I'd be happy to do that. Leave me a comment below in the comment box. I do use many different brands. I use Blick Studios color pencils. I do use the Caran d'Ache. I use the polychromos and the Prismacolor Premier. So if you'd like to see me do kind of like a side-by-side comparison of that, just leave a little comment in the comment box. I think it could be an interesting learning experience for myself as well as for you guys, just to see if you're looking to buy a particular new brand of pencil, what you might like best about them, and I can do the pros and cons of both. So at this point in the drawing, we've got a really good base layer put down, and we're just going to refer back to our reference image, and we're going to start to push those values. We really want to make it pop and make it really hyper realistic, and the only way to really go about that is to now take what we have and then really just make it pop by changing just subtly some of those values. Deepen up your dark shadows, and you want to brighten up your highlights if you need to with an eraser or with an electric eraser, and just go and just fine tune everything. Don't stop too early, keep going, and just finish your drawing. It would mean the world to me if you guys would subscribe to my channel. Make sure to smash that like button and leave me a comment. Hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any new content. I put out a new tutorial every Thursday. As with everything, practice makes perfect. Part of your success will be to not give up too soon, keep going, and always finish your work. I want to thank you so much for joining me today, and happy art.